ICU boy who I let into Dakin last night. Was it just me, or was there something behind those smiles we shared? I want to see you again. How about a cup of tea?
So when I saw the post, I immediately knew it was about me. I didn't respond back to it through the site, but luckily I ran into her the next day on my way to class. And we both just kind of glanced at each other, and we kind of knew. Neither of us said anything about it at the moment, but we exchanged numbers, and then we had some tea.
ICU Hampy is a web space shrouded in mystery. The authors of the posts, the moderator of the Tumblr, and even whom the posts are about are completely anonymous. There are no names found throughout the entire site, only initials. The most famous of which is NG, the site's creator and moderator, whom remains elusive, operating the site secretly. Through undisclosed measures, I was allowed access to an interview with NG. He told the story of the site's beginning.
I started ICU Hampy because I had a misconnection, and there was nothing to do with it. There was this person who I kept on seeing around campus who all I wanted to do was tell them that I thought they were beautiful. So I started the site. I knew of ICU Smith, and I figured, no one started this at Hampshire, so I should probably be the one to do it. I started it up. I never actually wrote my misconnection on it, and nothing really happened because it was right before the end of fall semester. Didn't think much of it until the beginning of spring semester when I started getting hundreds and hundreds of submissions a day. That's how I realized that I started something, I guess.
ICUHampy.tumblr.com receives around 2,500 page views every day and averages 50 submissions. It has grown so large that it takes on a role further than just misconnections.
I post misconnections, and occasionally I'll post things that aren't necessarily misconnections, but were just emotions that kind of don't really have any other venue. People look to ICU Hampy, and people post on ICU Hampy not necessarily when they want to make a connection or make, connect a misconnection, if however you want to say it, but because they have something to say and nowhere else to say it, and they can do it safely and anonymously on the site, and I think it brings a kind of catharsis, and I think it brings a kind of validation to what people are feeling, which is also why I think that the site gets occasionally posts about self-harm, because people don't really know what to do with those emotions, and they want to feel validated in some way, and so they post to the site, and it's always sad to see, but to know that someone's hurting like that. But in some ways, I am happy that there is somewhere for them to go, although it's not necessarily the most appropriate.
Early in the spring 2012 semester, ICU Hampy received several submissions about self-harm, and NG's decision to post them on the site received much criticism.
The first time I got a post about a self-harm post, I was really broken up about it. I almost shut down the site right there, because I didn't really know how to deal with it exactly, and I was scared for them and for maybe what the site would be if something were to come out of it. But I think I ended up doing some work with Active Minds, and they gave me a list of suggestions about what they'd like to see me do, and I followed some of those, and others I intend to, but haven't yet.
These types of posts are being submitted because people know that their voice will be heard. With 2,500 page views a day, people are definitely listening. It begs the question, what gathers such a large audience, and why is it still going?
I'm so in it, I guess, that I kind of forget sometimes why people check the site. Sometimes I have to wonder, why is this still going? But maybe, I think a main point is people want to see themselves up there. They want to see someone misconnection. I mean, we're all kind of hopeless romantics, whether or not we really want to admit it. And what else? Pastime, nervous. People get in habits. I check the same 5-6 sites every day, and if there's nothing on those, then I'm done. And ICU Hampy is one of them. So I think people kind of get into the habit, and it kind of sticks. And also, I think it provides an interesting look into what a kind of subconscious of Hampshire. I'm not really sure if subconsciousness is like the right word, but it is a kind of view at the school from afar. If you want to look at it that way. I mean, I think there are 5,600, 5,700 posts up there, and it's not been a year yet. But in its own right, I think there's a kind of archive of missed connections on the site now, and I think it is a kind of, in its own way, portrait of Hampshire and a portrait of Hampshire College students.
It may not be too evident at a first glance, but you are currently witnessing misconnections as they happen. It happens everywhere, all the time, but many of them will never be bridged. It's hard to reach out to a stranger, and it's even harder to be rejected. ICU Hampy has given the Hampshire community the comfort of anonymity. It is an online masquerade of second chances. And perhaps what draws us to check the Tumblr is our ability to uncover the faces behind the masks, with the chance, at the slightest, that the face we find will be our own.